Welcome to another jewelry making video brought to you by keepsakecrafts.net. Today we're going to be making this bracelet using tubes that have a slight curve to them, and that gives your bracelet a lot of fun movement. To make this bracelet you will need some of these tubes. These are metal tubes with just a slight curve to them, and they're 21 millimeters long. You will need 6 for every strand of your bracelet, and since I'm making a triple strand bracelet I have 18 here. You'll also need some beads. These are 6 millimeter round beads, and these are agates that I found at an online beading company called A Grain of Sand. You'll also need a clasp and then a bead for the end. I'm going to use this to kind of gather together all 3 strands. And you'll need wire protectors, 2, 4 crimp covers and 4 crimps, and of course some bead stringing wire. And for tools you'll need wire cutters, chain nose pliers, and crimping pliers. Also, a bead design board is helpful. So you can see I've taken a minute to lay out my curved tubes interspersed with 15 6 millimeter beads. Now these tubes are fun. They come in like this. It's just kind of a shallow curve. They come deeper curved. They come even in corkscrew shapes. So that's a fun thing to kind of look in your beading catalog. I got these at Fire Mountain Gems. But it's kind of a fun thing to look and think about the different designs you can make with these fun findings. So I'm going to use these little brushed metal beads that I got from House of Gems to consolidate all 3 of my wires down into one at the ends. You can use bead caps, that's a common way of doing it, but I kind of like the look of these. So I had to take a minute and figure out exactly how I was going to do it. And although I'm not much of a drawer, I did a little sketch just to figure it out. So here's the 3 strands. And what I'm going to do right before I put the bead on, I'm going to trim one. Actually, I'll put a crimp over all of them. I'll crimp all 3 and then trim one and cover that with a crimp cover. And then I'll send the 2 remaining ones through my bead, through a crimp, and then I'll send one of them through the wire protector and then back through the crimp. And then I'll crimp it so you can see one end here and one end here, and that will be covered by a crimp cover. That will neatly finish off all 3 ends without using a bead cap. So I'm actually going to start with 3 pieces of beading wire, and the best way I figured to do this is to take one of my little bead clamps and just hold them all together. Next we'll send all 3 ends through a crimp and give myself a little bit of room, a couple of inches. Make sure those wires are nice and flat, especially where you have 3. Let's not have them crossed over each other, but lying nice and flat next to each other inside the crimp. And then use my chain nose pliers to flatten them and give each one a tug and make sure it's secure. So we're starting by finishing one end. And then I'm going to use my crimping pliers to pick up a crimp cover, slide it over that crimp and squeeze. And now it looks like there's a bead there, and this can come off. And next I'm going to trim one of these wires right here. Actually, I should have trimmed it before I put the crimp cover on, but we'll get it really nice and close. So now we're down to 2 wires. Next we're going to slide that through a bead. That I'm going to slide them both through a crimp. And then just one of them will go through the wire protector. And I'm going to add a piece of my clasp here. And then that end that went through the wire protector is going to go back through the crimp. So once again, we have 3 wires going through that crimp. And again, try to make sure that they're flat. Leave a little space for your crimp cover. And then just squash that. Give a tug. It's not going anywhere. And we'll trim both of those wires. Make sure you trim them nice and close to the crimp. That way the ends will be covered, hopefully, by the cover. I hate little pokey ends of wire when I'm wearing a piece of jewelry. Very annoying. And then, once again, crimp cover. Picked up by crimping pliers. And slide over the crimp. Squeeze. And now that is a really nice finish for 3 strands of wire. If you found this confusing and you didn't follow it, I will put this sketch up on my blog. You can find the link on the screen right here to the blog post that accompanies this video. And I'll make sure and put the sketch up so you can print it out and follow it. And then now all you need to do is string on your tubes and your beads. Now with these shaped tubes, it really is best to use some bead stringing wire, something stiff, especially if you get into the ones that are very curved or the corkscrew shape. Obviously you can't get a needle through the corkscrew shape. So it's a good idea to use the bead stringing wire, something nice and stiff. And you just string on each of your strands and then finish the ends just the way we started. So I've strung all of my beads, and now I thought I would just review the finishing since it is a little unusual. So first, slide all 3 wires through a crimp. And then we're going to pull them up so they're all even. And then I'm going to back this off about 1/4 of an inch. I want these, especially with this nice curvy shape, we really want these to be able to move gracefully. So I'm going to back it off about 1/4 of an inch. Make sure they're all flat. Flatten. Add a crimp cover. Oh, wait a minute. Flatten. Then trim. Add a crimp cover. Add your bead. Now you're down to 2 strands. Those go through a crimp. 1 goes through the wire protector. Add the other piece of your clasp. And then that end coming out of the wire protector goes back through the crimp. Leave a little room for your crimp cover. Flatten. Check. Trim. And cover with the crimp cover. And you have a bracelet. Here's another look at the bracelet we made today. I hope that you like this project and that you'll give it a try. If you like this video, please be sure to click subscribe so that you see more like it. This bracelet would look lovely with Swarovski crystals, and I hope you like the idea for using a bead to finish off your multiple strands of wire rather than always having to use a bead cap, although that's a nice option too. So have fun and make yourself a pretty bracelet. Thanks so much for watching Keepsake Crafts videos. Please be sure to click like if you like this video, and also check out my blog keepsakecrafts.net, where I have lots more creative ideas and inspiration. Happy creating. Bye-bye.